There you go. So, again, last but not the least panel of this IMS Academy. So another hot topic here. First of all, welcome to Remix Etiquette, best rules on how to remix a track. Let's start with something simple. Again, there are no real rules when it comes to remixing songs, right? Because usually the best remixes usually break the mold, okay? So instead of going through fixed ideas, what we want to do here is to keep it open and practical, okay? And we want to explore different perspectives, okay? We're gonna explore push versus respect, what makes a remix stand out, common mistakes, industry reality, okay? So first up, Andy Anderson, there you go. Also known as Dufresne. So as a producer, so Andy is a A&R and scout for Southern Fried Records, the Fatboy Slim record label, and he's also an amazing producer, so he will bring both label and producer perspective. And then next up, Giacomo Pellegrini, Jack from Thanky, which is an amazing community-driven music app for emerging artists and fans. So it will bring a different angle because it will bring how music is positioned, marketed, and monetized. You know, so we got two sides of the different story: how remixes are made and what make them survive in the real world. There you go.
Yeah, but before starting, who was at the party yesterday? Yo, who stayed till the end? Who stayed till the end? Yeah, few of us.
They have survived.
And my voice can tell, so forgive me for my voice.
So
but
let's start from the core tension.
When it's on, you cannot stop.
Let's start from the core tension, Andy. What makes you say yes to a remix? And even as a producer, have you ever gone too far?
Say remixes that stand out are remixes that they really nail into a producer's sound, and I think they're quite a good opportunity, something I learned from doing them myself, to actually find out what your sound is, because you're quite limited to what you can write in it, and you're quite limited to the techniques you can use. And yeah, I think it's about it sounding unique to me. But you know, you don't want to. And the best thing you can do is you can ask a label what they want out of it, and understand who else might be doing it. And then you can kind of understand why they're asking you and where you fit into it. You know, if you're a really big tech house DJ, they're probably going to want you to take the vocal and make something quite functional. If you're one of the more underground billings that's being asked, you might stand out if you just completely make it your own. And it's just about yeah, communicating and finding out what's expected, really.
So community side, do you think that people still distinguish remix versus original? Do people care anymore?
That's a really good question. I think that most of the time, maybe they don't know anything about the old original, track. It's really depends what's your taste. If you know about, the original version, what we notice is that it's definitely a great, let's say, marketing weapon, especially for the artists on social media, more than streaming platform. It is the algorithm doesn't reward that much most of the time the remix. That's what we notice. But whereas on social media platform, obviously as an artist, if that resonate with your genre and your taste and what you're building, it's a good idea, and you can definitely leverage that most of the time. And people, if people care about that, I mean, if they listen to the track for the first time, for them it's new. So if it's an old track or not, most of the time they don't know about it. But anyway.
And Alex, your perspective, how do you balance pushing versus respecting the original?
That's a great question. I think that when you do a remix from the artistic standpoint, you should add something that it's your vision of the track, while still respecting the original on its essence. And I think when you listen to a track, there is something that captures you as an artist. So if I listen to something, I really like grooves and melodies and harmonies in music is what catches me. So usually if I feel a track, it's the melodic part that hits me. So technically, if I do a remix, I tend to grab the musical part of it, the lines, the melodies, but then transform into my vision of the track, because otherwise there's no need. I mean, what I do understand remixes as a commercial marketing thing, and sometimes they're very great because you can type into new niches, new audiences in a very elegant way. But I think that this job is art at the end. We are here for expressing ourselves through art. And it's a pity if you don't do it. Because, I mean, I have my own vision of life. They will have their own vision. And if he does a remix, I want to hear his interpretation of the track. And there are some very good remixes out there that when you hear a remix, you immediately feel, okay, this is his remix for sure. And this is, I think, what you should do. But not completely ignoring the original. I feel sometimes that there are remixes that are the small hi-hat or the snare roll or 20 seconds and then it's another track completely, and this is also not good.
Yeah, and Andy, your perspective on this, you know, what makes a remix still feel connected?
What makes a remix feel connected to the artist? Yeah, I think it's about, I think what Alex said is a good point. It's about emotional resonance, right? It's listening through it. I personally, if I do one, I try and not listen to the original, and then you can just go through the stems kind of as a blank canvas, treat it as a sample pack, and the thing that makes you go, the thing that inspires you and makes you click. In the same way you'd write another piece of music, you can use that, and then you can build your base for the record. And then if you, I don't know, if you notice, for example, that you don't have enough of the original elements of the track, or it's not close enough, you can just start littering those in. But I would start from the thing that makes you click, not reverse engineering it into something that you think that someone else wants. And you can always make more than one version. That's the thing. You know what I mean? You can make your left field version that's all you, or you can make a more functional version. You can send them both over. You can be playful with it.
And funky side, Jake, on your platform, you know, what kind of remixes, if you have remixes on them, funky as well, or something similar, you know, what kind of remixes perform better on platforms, more faithful ones or more radical reinterpretations?
Well, in our case, we started a label like a year ago. So far we have like 70 artists, 140 tracks, and so far we have only one remix. And it was like a very famous track back in the 90s. My co-founder Dario actually produced it. And it became an anthem for festivals in the UK. And actually we are using that for us to get known in the market, to be known in the market. And but what I noticed is that it resonated with a lot of people, especially in the UK. And he's attracting, you know, artists, catching a lot of attention because obviously they know the track, they wanna remix it, and that's obviously our experience. So I would say that, you know, old tracks like in the 90s were famous, definitely, you know.
And do you think, Alex, that are still remixes a way to actually break through as well?
As the artist that got remixed, or as the remixer?
The remixer.
I think yes. Is an interesting, fascinating tool at the end. Sometimes you got tracks that got famous just for the remix. The remix version is the one that exploded globally. Sometimes there is a risk there in a way, because sometimes some remixers can bring the track in a completely different region, and if that track gets much more famous than the original, it may be a tropical house remix, and then the original was an intimate whatever. If you take Lickly, Follow River, Follow.
Lickly.
I'm a very great singer.
Yeah, the Magician remix probably.
The original is like an intimate down-tempo track, okay? And sometimes I'm not sure that then also the artist name gets famous, and then it brings you into a different world, and maybe you don't want to get in that world. So sometimes it's also, you should pay attention to who you ask remix for, because if this is too far away and you are still not established with your own image, it can bring you in places that then it's hard for you, because then maybe your big following starts to be in a place where you don't belong to. You don't know how to play that music. You you don't enjoy playing the music. So they may start booking you for commercial stages, and then you go there and you are completely out of context. So I think it's a strategy that is super helpful, but must be played consciously. And yes, of course, you can break through as but then it becomes a track. So if you break through as a remixer, it's just that you made a very great track that is working with a sample pack, as Andy was saying. It's a sample pack from another artist, but I mean, you did your own homework.
And then the level perspective, how do usually remixes opportunities happen? Is this still label driven, or is also more organic opportunities?
We do a lot of remixes now. Actually, I think that it's tricky because on streaming they don't really hit the algorithm in the same way, and so we look at them more. We kind of look at them in a way, kind of just from a really good product point of view. Also, if we're working with artists long term, which is what we're mostly trying to do at Southern Fried, we're looking for long term development artists, and we kind of, to your point, Alex, if you were talking about doing a remix and ending up in shows that you don't want to be on, and if you're trying to develop an artist, and we know from their management that, let's say, they're trying to get more underground looks and expand what they're doing into those kind of festivals, we like to kind of A&R it in that way to kind of help them get there on their journey, and then let that feed back into the music we're releasing. But yeah, we commission a lot, and I think weirdly, a lot of the time it's about good A&R decisions, because if you pick the right remixer, it usually does. You pick someone who will actually resonate with the stems, and you actually know their music, and you're not just picking them because they're a big name that you want to slap on it. You start from a musical point of view, then normally it comes together, in our experience, really easily and quickly. And you get it back in like 3-4 days. You know, you won't be spending all your time talking about the contracts and all that. It would just be more fun and experimental, and then you sort it out afterwards.
Anyway, I got a spoiler here, because we're so glad as a Tong Academy to have Southern Fried Records as our partners, and take notes, because on June we're gonna launch an incredible remix contest, with Southern Fried Records. So this is a spoiler. It will be announced officially in 1 month. And Jake, from your perspective, is a remix still creative expression or a marketing tool? Or to work, it needs to be both?
Well, honestly, tapping in what Alex said, you have to be very careful, because obviously it could be like a marketing tool, but at the same time it has to resonate with who you are, your genre, your music, and if you want to build your career, you definitely have to you can use it. So far, our perspective is always like kind of a social media oriented. Yeah, so that we always think that first of all, you have to build the audience, you have to build your community, and obviously that could be helpful, but at the same time, you have to be very honest with yourself. You have to know where you're gonna aim, what is your target, and so I would say it's a combination. It's not a right answer to that.
And if I may, something, I think that also as an upcoming producer that maybe still wants to get noticed, this could be, without getting asked to make a remix, could be a way to get noticed, especially on SoundCloud. Most of the time, a DJ that I will never play a track that is played by everyone, but sometimes there is a track you love, you would love to play, but you want to play a new version and a new angle to it. And sometimes you don't have time to make your own edits every time. And SoundCloud is a very big place for these, where you may just scroll the name of the track. And then if you find a kid that makes his own version of that thing, but not like the Mashup style, there this thing that is cheesy and we saw it too many times. But you bring your art in that way, and then I go to your profile and I see that you did the same thing in few other tracks, and then I listen to your music. I may start putting you on my radar screen. I may get and play that edit, and especially knowing that it's not released is better, because maybe you have very few plays, even better, because I know that for some time it could be a nice version I discovered. So that's a very great way, first of all, to learn, because sometimes trying to give your version of something that is already there can help you sparkle creativity in your brain, but you never know. many big remixes that then became official remixes started exactly like this. That you found something from the 90s, from whatever, you gave your version, but it can be even something from today. It's a good way to get out there.
Let's talk about some best practices, you know, Alex. Keep the hook, lose the rest. Agree or disagree?
I would say that from an audience point of view, you should keep what the audience, if this is a track that already resonated with someone, I would tend to keep that moment and then create something different, maybe afterwards or before it. But I mean, there should be some surprise, otherwise it's not a remix. It could be on the sound design, but I would keep the main thing. Because otherwise people, it happened to me several times to hear a remix, and then I was waiting for the moment because I know the original, and then it never came, and it was a bit disappointment.
What's your opinion on that, Andy?
I think if a label is asking you to do it, or an artist, you just, as I said earlier, you need to communicate with them. It's what a lot of people. It's quite simple, but a lot of people don't. They just take the stems and they just kind of run away with it. But you can always just ask. You can always make multiple versions. I personally like remixes that are quite experimental, because I think if you pick the right remixer, they will know the parts to keep. And I think most people go about them in quite similar ways. Like if there's a vocal in there, you're probably not going to lose the vocal in the remix. But yeah, I think the label should communicate it to you in a sort of open way that allows you to be creative. And I think you should be able to talk with the label about it. Yeah.
Jack, you want to add something?
Well, no, I think that you said, guys, everything. Honestly, agree with you. Yeah.
What are the most common mistakes when you, I mean, talking about remix demos, then you hear, you know?
I think sometimes not pushing it hard enough. Like I personally, sometimes this works, but I don't get very interested by remixes that sound super similar to the original. You can have the same elements and keep the spirit of the track, but I think make it sound different, because the people you're sending it to they've heard the original hundreds of times. They've released it and mastered it. So give them something to get excited about, I'd say.
Alex, what artists should do differently tomorrow? Because today's today, but from here, what artists should do differently tomorrow when submitting remixes?
Can you repeat the question?
What artists should do differently tomorrow when submitting remixes to a label?
I think when you submit a remix to a label, I agree with Andy, you should push, you should leave a mark. People should play your track and say, oh, I made the right decision. This one brought the track in a completely different space, respecting the original. You shouldn't stop there. I give you an example. Lex yesterday, ciao Lex, thank you very much. He delivered an incredible set, but he made a remix of one of our track on the plane. He said, do you mind if I do a remix coming? I love so much this track. Can I do a remix? And he played it yesterday night as opening track. And it was very nice, because for me it was a nice legacy thing between us. But in a way, he brought it somewhere else, you know? It was something fresher, with nice groove in his own sound, but it respected in a way. It's a remix. We made a version of LNR Work It to the Bone, a track from early house records, and then he made a version of our version. So it's kind of a meta thing, but it's lovely, because I think this is also how electronic music and house music has been always evolved. I got inspired by something, then someone sampled something, and then it goes into another generation and another generation. And of this, I'm a really big supporter. I'm not very protective of this thing. I give you a story that made me disappointed. I love Daft Punk in general, but I mean, I got disappointed once with Nello. We made a remix of Daft Punk. There is a track that we really loved, and we sent to the labels, and they loved it, and they said, okay, let's see if we can clear it, and they refused. And I was upset, because they built their own career on sampling, and to me, that's not fair. Why you build your career on sampling, and then if someone sampled your track, you refuse it? I think is there is an ethic in this industry, and if you get something, you should give it back. It didn't change my love for Daft Punk, but I mean, I thought it was unfair.
No worries about it, Alex, because Thomas and Guiman, they refuse to produce Madonna as well. So let's... Yeah, I agree with them, but anyway. Okay, so no, jokes apart. Let's start. I mean, I like to pass from reality to from theory to reality, and let's start playing this one. Push it, push it, push it, please. We want to hear the music here.
Right about now. Check it out now. Right about now.
Okay, this is just to break some highs. Then we're gonna start listening your remixes and demos. But this is a fantastic release on Southern Fried Records, and this is probably more than a mashup, more than a remix, but it could be a remix as well. You know, it's Fatboy Slim meeting the myth, you know, the bold myth, Norman, Fatboy Slim, and the Rolling Stones. What's the story behind it?
The story behind it is, I mean, Norman would say it best, but it's 25 years old. And Norman Cook, and why he's so brilliant, is kind of I mean, he's a great artist, but in a lot of ways he's a DJ first. And that's how he built his productions, and he just knows, he can just hear things that go together. And that's why all of his original tunes were kind of 12 remixes at once with really heavy sampling. And I think he just applied that to this and used his encyclopedic knowledge of music to know they go together. But it is I mean, it is a remix, but it's not at the same time, because it's two full tracks blended together, and no one else would ever think of putting the Stones with Rockefeller Skank, but yeah, Norman would and did.
Yeah, and I heard stories of cleaning some of the Norman tracks. It's very hard because it's kind of putting everything together to make an incredible music. But I mean, it's like sampling and remixing millions of things all together to create a mega new original, and it's really an art.
Definitely, and that's what makes him so unique. Like I said, it kind of comes from him being a DJ, because he just knows music so well that where someone else has got a sample pack and listens to all these different sounds in their pack, he just thinks of whole tracks that he plays and takes, you know, half a second of a drum hit from here and a film here, and somehow puts it all together into music, which is a very unique thing he's got.
We got some submissions, and actually not so many remixes, but we got a few. So I will start from the first one, and it's from one of our students. I mean, let's listen to the original first. You know, it's Tiesto, yeah, and Diplo and Busta Rhymes. Push it, please.
Catch 'em by surprise. Catch 'em by surprise. Catch 'em by surprise. Let's go. Bounce to the beat, people hands up. Everybody in the place stand up and jump and shake and rush the club till the whole entire building is rammed up. And there's nothing you can do to hold them off. And while the beautiful women be showing off, we about to cause a riot in this bitch till we hearing the fire alarm. We got 'em hypnotized. 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 You gotta, I heard 'em up, give it to 'em. Word 'em up, let me do 'em. Like another match and let it flame. So come on, everybody get ready. Know every time I do what I do. Bust rhymes with the people wanna. Let's go, cause you know we gon' fly. Gon' fly. We got 'em hypnotized. Let's catch 'em by surprise. Let's catch 'em by surprise.
Okay. And then we got, you know, this remix curated by one of our students called Braveton. Is there Braveton around there? Oh, there you go. Okay, let's play it. So.
Surprise, let's catch 'em by surprise. 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 Let's catch 'em in the building and we lit the fire. So I hope you know we gotta run on. Cause you gotta know that when we get it started, when I'm in the spot, there ain't no question that you gotta. And hurt them up, give it to them. Word them up, let me do them. Like another match and let it flame. Get you, come on.
Yeah, I think Bravetone's done a good job, to be fair, because I mean, it would, like with anything with a rapper in it, it's usually a pretty different tempo to electronic music. So I think it's a functional play on it. Sound design sounds good, and turn it into something else that can be used for DJs at different tempos that want to play that tune but aren't playing at the original speed. So I think it's a good job.
I agree completely. I think it's a good intuition. In this case, is exactly what I was saying before. Probably Diblo and Busta Rhymes didn't call you for a remix, but but you searched something, you heard probably something, and you felt that this could fit the sound you make with some twists. And it's good because the stabs and the chords that you have in the breakdown works perfectly in your style of music. The bass you created is yours, but still speaks to the original somehow. The rap works in your genre. So you got all the elements. You found something, is okay, I can make something mine out of this. And it works good, and then it's dance floor ready, frankly. It works. Again, it's not my personal music style, but I mean, it works. I saw people moving, and that when the drop was coming, so super solid. Bravo, Bravetown.
And obviously, we didn't accept, remixes for this party in particular because we wanted to listen to original music.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the Academy, we have done so many contests for Ministry of Sound and Tong, Release Me, and now we're going to do this. We're going to offer this new opportunity through Southern Fried Records, and this is why I want to listen to original music as well. And we got some submissions, and then I did, the common mistakes of asking you to give me your USB cards, and I'm full of USB cards, so I will randomly pick one, okay, I promise. And I will show you one best practice, because there's one particular reason why I'm picking one in particular as the first one. But I want to play this one by Metaflor. Is that Metaflor? Oh, there you go.
Ciao, Metaflor.
Can you please tell us more about yourself? Because usually you don't know if labels signed artists rather than tracks.
oh. Um, I have great production. It works. I have mixed feelings because I think there is part of this track that it really works. Another part of this track that, in my opinion, it doesn't add much. I think that when a track, especially if this is a dance track, in the meaning that needs to make people dance, you need to have kick and bass that works. If kick and bass doesn't make you move, you don't have a track. And your kick and bass make people move. When you just played it, people were like, oh yeah, it grooves, it's good. There is this gliding thing, so it's not just as, there are some details that make it fresh and good. What I think is not adding much is the vocal part. I have to be transparent. I think it's nothing special. Maybe I'm too direct. But the idea is that, especially today, I think the quality is super high. You can even go like Fred again with a noise vote from a friend. So it can be very raw on the other side. But if you enter the pop game here, you compete here with Dua Lipa, this goes immediately there. Okay, I want to enter that space where DJs play that music, and those are the other tracks they can choose from. And it's not at all there in terms of melodic line, in terms of interpretation, in terms of hooks, in terms of also constructions. It's very long, it's very dilated, it takes time to reach the hook moment. So I would say that the strongest part is the kick, the bass, and some of the drums. And I would start again from there and rethink the track, just stripping it down and focusing, okay, I'm adding this thing, the motion goes down. I remove this thing. You need to keep the groove up. And you will feel it. When you are in the studio, you will feel it. When you add something and immediately it becomes a bit confused, a bit too much, you lose the idea, you're adding something that is not helping the track. So just remove it and try something else. But the groove is there.
Yeah, I'm sort of with Alex on that one. But I do think, you know, the kick and the groove and the bass work, and that is always the hard part. Exactly. Yeah, because if you don't have that, you don't have a track. And if you have everything else, it's quite hard to build backwards from that. But I think, like you said, when you're using vocals like that, I mean, it definitely works, but you're competing in a more commercial realm, and so you need a really stunning vocal, and that one is pretty good. But you know, you either push it harder and make it more experimental, I think, or and apply more of your own production, use one shots, or you know, use interesting tricks or vocoders. I quite like to use as well. Simple delays to make it more sort of robotic. And yeah, I think that would take it to the next level. But I mean, the difficult bit is the bass and the skeleton of the track, and that's definitely there.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can add, obviously, I leave the technical part to the expert here. But I mean, what I noticed, what we've been noticing over the last years that we've been working on this project, is that you have to get to the point like in a few seconds. Unfortunately, I know, of course, yes, but just as a suggestion, I mean, it's like super important because, I mean, people have like attention span is becoming like a fraction, unfortunately, I would say. And I hear you, I agree with you. Obviously, it's like something that we have to respect. And so the moment they're going to try skipping, then get to the point that they feel excited, so get to the hook like in seconds, but,
You have something to add?
I want to add one thing in this. This is the extended version, she said. You must learn the art of sending the right version for the right use. You never you know that this is a demo listening. You know the people, you don't send the extended. You send the extended if someone asks you, oh, I like the track. Do you have an extended we may want to release also? Or I want to see how you extended the track. But if you send, I think, and then you may prove me wrong on this, but I mean, my experience tells me that even if you pitch now club track to a label, you tend to send an edit, maybe the version that is with the shorter intro, not the 40 seconds of kick and only duets, and then eventually share the extended. You always need to think about, okay, people are pressing play They will stay there for 15 seconds, then they understand that it's boring, and then they move ahead, and then they move ahead, and the emotion is already gone. So it's a way really to think. I don't know if you agree on the sending the edits to labels, even if this is a dance track.
Yeah, I think you're always better off sending both versions. It does depend who you're sending it to. I think for the purpose of this, because we're going to play it from the start, you want to have the shorter version. But also the truth is, I mean, I wouldn't say I do this, but a lot of people that get demos actually just sort of click all around it. They don't give it the time it deserves, and so they don't actually play it from the start necessarily. I would just send both versions, to be honest. But you know, I think it's important to be aware of the way people consume music. But at the same time, you know, Ricardo Villalobos makes 15-minute tunes. You know, Aphex Twin makes albums with sort of code names on his records, and he's won a Grammy. So you shouldn't spend too much time thinking about what labels think, if you really think your music is good. Because if it's good enough, you don't have to listen to anybody, and labels will listen to you. But it does have to be amazing for you to be able to do
I agree.
that.
I completely agree with you. And just to give you a number, we shared in the other demo listening. I think if you're really fair, and if you think really how long people listen to a demo, it's probably 8-9 seconds. Okay? I press play, 2 seconds in the intro, bam, skip if it's not good, 2-3 seconds in the middle. If there's nothing that catches me, I may give you another try. I press somewhere else in the track to see, let's see if I found a surprise. If everything is boring, is the same, there's nothing that stands out, trash bin, instantly. So maybe it's 8-9 seconds. If I find something interesting, this bass, kick and bass here could have been up, oh, nice, let me see. Okay, so this is good. So again, focus on the idea, try to make incredible music, then in whatever version you share is gonna get signed for sure.
We have 5 minutes left, so I want to talk about good practices when approaching a summit like this. You know, ask you to give me your USBs, and I got a bunch of this, and I need to choose one. I need to pick one, okay? And you need to imagine when approaching a summit like this, that probably you will meet so many A&Rs, and probably they will get more than the ones that I have in my hand, okay? So probably they will listen to them all. And I will personally promise that if you leave them to me, I will listen to them all. And this is why I hope that you have included your press kit, your contacts. Otherwise, I don't know how to provide you with some feedbacks. But for example, I will choose these two for the reason that you need to believe in yourself, you need to push yourself, you need to invest in yourself. And I like the way you're personal with that. I mean, I can see here there's a QR code, so I know there's some info inside this. And then also a bottle opener, which is
It's
always useful.
It's always handy.
And then I also see this cool by Ben Monkey. So I will play this one, okay? Give me 1 second, please.
Go. But I give you, here is very important what Fabio is saying while he's loading up, is try to stand out in different ways. Of course, you don't need to get crazy, but imagine that I only, just in these 3 days, I've received probably 150 USB keys. Just walking around. It would be very hard, okay? But as Fabio said, I give you this story. We made some business cards at the beginning, and they were very glossy and cool and amazing. When you were handing this over to people and they were different from the others, the feeling was, oh, this is cool, this is nice. That they keep it, maybe because they want to do the same for them or whatever. So it's a way to get noticed among everything. If you just put a USB key, random USB key in the hands of someone, you're wasting the 10 euro of the USB key.
So obviously here I opened this folder. I got an about me file, and I got 4 songs, which is cool. You know, probably 4. I hope the 4 best songs you have, Ellen, right? Because I also scanned your QR code, and it's linking me to your Instagram profile, which is cool. Okay, is Ellen here? There you go. What song do you want me to play? Sunshine. Let's play it.
sky with a touch of gray. You are my sunshine on a cloudy day. You are my blue sky with a touch of gray. You are my sunshine, my shine, 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 my shine. You are my sunshine on a cloudy day. You are my blue sky with a touch of gray. You are my sunshine on a cloudy day. You are my blue sky with a touch of gray.
Andy, you go.
Yeah, I think it's big and powerful, and I quite like the way the vocal feels. It sort of contrasts with that kind of tune. It's kind of a vocal you'd expect in something a bit brighter and happier, and I quite like that kind of oxymoron about it. It gives it quite an interesting feel to it. I think the structure of it, it's very, very progressive, and so it's quite like blocky, and the snare rolls, for example, in the breakdown are kind of just like the same volume the whole way through, and I think you could shop things around and think a bit more maybe about what the message and the core thing of the tune you're trying to say is, and see how you could get that in earlier, if that makes sense, and make it kind of a bit more fluid with a bit more detail in between the transitions, just to get yourself, it's a good listen, but to get yourself kind of throwing your body into it a bit more groove into it, and go a bit harder on the swing, I would say.
I think the track is strong, personally. I really like it. I think there are several A&R inputs on the structure specifically, and some technical things. There is a moment where the hi-hats enters in and drive the compressor that puts everything down. So there are some mistakes here and there. But apart from this, I think the track is strong. And there is one particular thing that I like, that is part of the sound are very main stage, Tiesto-ish thing. But then when it drops, it goes with this bass that it fits more indie dance, with these different notes and chords. So it could be a track that can be accepted by different words. And sometimes this is very powerful, because I see this with some fixes, maybe it's too much, but I mean, I think this played also in the Inner Vision trick, where sometimes is very cool, but I can see this played main stage Doubt Villa tonight, and could be a track that moves people. So there are things to fix, and also the guy in the back there that was like, yeah, he was looking at me, yeah, this is good. So when people react like this, it means that there is something. So well done, mate.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have no time left, but we really hope it was helpful. And I really want to thank Andy Anderson from Southern Pride Records, Angle Management,
So guys,
Frankie and Alex.
I want to thank Fabio and the whole team, Gab, Edo, Vanessa, my business partner Nello, and the whole team for this incredible 3 days. It's not over. We have the Future Talent Awards in half an hour out there. We will reveal who are the next 10 future talents of the year. We also will reveal who's the FIFA soundtrack winner. So
FIFA Heroes, yeah.
FIFA Hero winner. So let's see everyone outside, and I will do this also there, but I really want to thank everyone. Vanessa say no. Why no, Vanessa? There is another 10 in 10.
Absolutely.
But I mean, she said, no, we don't do the last 10 in 10 because we need to do clean up and stuff, and she did it. Who is the one?
Please show some love to the
Bibi
one
Dang.
and only
Bibi
Bibi Dang.
Dang.